What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a very interesting, very exciting Liverpool transfer news video. And Liverpool are very heavily linked with Memphis Depay, the ex-Manchester United player. So my first question to you guys is, do you think that Liverpool should sign this guy? I certainly think that we should, because the Mirror is reporting that Liverpool are very close to agreeing a deal with Lyon for about a 35-40 million pound deal, which could rise to as much as 50 million. But I think that's still a good number, because Memphis Depay has 17 goals and like 13 assists this season. He scored 22 goals last season for Olympique Lyon, so I think that he could be a really big player for Liverpool in the coming years. And I think he is similarly to Mohamed Salah. He has a lot to prove in the Premier League, and he wants to prove people wrong, because Salah came to the Premier League at first with Chelsea, he flopped, then he went back to Roma, he revived his career, and then he came back to Liverpool and really proved to the Premier League what a great player he is. And Memphis Depay is in a similar situation, that he flopped at Man United, or basically wasn't really given a proper chance. And Robert Pires urged Liverpool to push through a move to Memphis Depay. So guys, if you enjoy these types of transfer news videos, please leave a like. It just takes a second for you guys to click that like button, and it really helps me out and shows me that you guys enjoy and want more of these videos. And I pack a lot of brand new information in this video, including some big Liverpool outgoing transfer news about Nathaniel Clyne, and also what PK said about Barcelona's collapse at Anfield. So make sure to watch this video until the end. So this is what Robert Pires said about Memphis Depay, and I quote: "Depay wants to come back to the Premier League, and he feels he has unfinished business in England. He perhaps feels he wasn't given a chance to perform and earn the right to stay longer, considering he was so young and showed glimpses of undoubted potential. But Depay might want to return to Manchester United, or he might be motivated to prove them wrong by performing for one of their rivals in the Premier League." And I honestly don't think that Depay wants to return to Manchester United, because of how badly he was treated, and he was basically sold after a year. So I think he still has a little bit of bitterness in himself towards Manchester United. So I was wrong previously. He scored 12 goals this season, not 17 in all competitions, but he got 13 assists. So he contributed to about 25 goals this season in 45 games. That's a decent return. And also last season he scored 22 goals. And also what is important is that Memphis Depay is very good friends with Gini Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum recently went to France, to Lyon, for a holiday, and they posed together for some pictures on social media. And Depay knows Wijnaldum and Van Dijk very well. They played together for the Dutch national team, and actually recently I think they assisted each other in the Netherlands 4-0 rout of Belarus. And Depay is already a very experienced player. He played for the Dutch national team 46 times and he scored 16 goals, and he's only 25 years old, so he is quite a young player still, and his best years I think are ahead of him. And at Manchester United he wasn't really given a proper chance. He only scored 7 goals in the one full season that he had at Manchester United, and then he played a few games at the beginning of the 2016-17 season, but he was sold to Lyon in January. In his first season at Lyon he scored 5 goals in 18 games, then 22 goals in the next season in 51 games, and then this season he has 12 goals and 13 assists and counting. And also at PSV Eindhoven he scored 49 goals in total in 124 games for PSV. So he started out his career quite early into the 2011 and 12 season, and in his last season at PSV he scored 28 goals. So in this video we will look through Memphis Depay in detail and what he can bring to Liverpool. And I think Gini Wijnaldum behind the scenes is pushing for Memphis Depay to sign for Liverpool, and Liverpool have actually sent scouts to watch some Lyon games, and Liverpool are eyeing up Memphis Depay mainly, but we are also watching Aouar and Ndombele, two other big young stars. And according to Mercato 365's, Liverpool's scouts are watching these Lyon talents for many games now. Liverpool are monitoring Memphis Depay for a whole year now, or maybe even 18 months. And the fact that we have been linked with Memphis Depay previously, I think gives us an even better chance to sign him, because Memphis Depay knows that we wanted him before he went to Manchester United. And actually, Memphis Depay liked the post on Instagram where he was urged by a fan to sign for Liverpool, and Memphis Depay actually liked that post, which I find very interesting and very I'm not sure how to put my feelings into words here, but you can guess how I feel. I'm very excited about the transfer window, because Liverpool are already in a really brilliant position. So if we sign a player like Depay to replace Daniel Sturridge, I think that would be brilliant business. So following a highly impressive showing at the 2014 World Cup, Depay, caught the attention of a lot of big clubs around Europe, and it was Manchester United who in the end finalized a deal. Liverpool signed Firmino at approximately the same time from Hoffenheim. And Depay, I was really devastated when we missed out on him in the first time, because we really thought, me and the other Liverpool fans, that Depay was going to be the next huge player in the Premier League. I mean, the way that he tore up the Eredivisie, and then he had a very impressive World Cup as well. I mean, scoring 28 goals in the season before the World Cup was very impressive. And yes, Depay was a part of the Manchester United squad, which won the FA Cup in 2016, but Depay never really lived up to the hype that was surrounding him. He was given Ronaldo's number 7 shirt, and everyone was expecting him to be the next Ronaldo, but maybe that was a little bit too early in his career. He wasn't really ready physically and tactically to cope with the Premier League. He only scored 2 goals in 33 Premier League games. But Mohamed Salah, as I said, had a very similar spell in the Premier League, so you shouldn't judge a player who failed at a very young age in the Premier League. Not all players mature at the same time, obviously. And then he was sold to Lyon in the January 2017 for 16 million, which is rising to 22 million with add-ons. And this move to France proved to be hugely successful. In his second season, he scored 22 goals and got 17 assists. And this season he has 12 goals, and I think now even more than 13 assists, maybe 15. I'm reading conflicting data on this. On one site it says he has 13 assists, another site says he has 15 assists. And Depay is really maturing at Lyon, and he can play as an out-and-out striker, but he can play on the wing as well, on the right wing and on the left wing, and that's exactly the kind of versatile player that Liverpool really need. And he is also a clinical finisher inside the box, but he can score out from outside the box, and he can score free kicks as well. So I think it will bring another very good dimension to the Liverpool attack, and he could be an unpredictable weapon, because if we bring him on as a substitute, or if we start him, the Liverpool players can interchange. I mean, Salah can play up front and on the right, Mane can play on the left up front, but even on the right, and Memphis Depay can play virtually anywhere, and Firmino can play up front or drop in behind, and even he can play on the wing, but that's not probably his best position. Memphis Depay is a very good dribbler, and he likes to dribble with the ball, and I love players who do that. I love players who get on the ball, dribble past defenders and shoot on goal or get a killer assist. So Memphis Depay attempted 100 dribbles in the League One last season with a 58% success rate. Compare that to Mane's dribbling success rate of 50% from 101 attempts, and Salah has a 53% dribble success rate from 151 attempts. So Mane is dribbling as much as Memphis Depay, but Depay is certainly not afraid of taking on his opponents and beating them with a lot of tricks, skill moves, dribbles, and I love those kind of players, honestly. And we can't have enough players like that who can take on defenders, because that frightens every single defender, no matter who you are. I think a tricky player who is unpredictable, who has pace, who has strength, and who has skills will frighten any defender. And he really bulked up since he left the Premier League. He's now physically a robust figure. He's difficult to knock off the ball, and he's capable of just shrugging off defenders with a lot of strength. And his durability is another major asset. So he has no significant injuries of any kind in the last 2 or 3 seasons, which I think is very, very good, because as Liverpool learned this season with Mane, Salah and Firmino all staying fit for the majority of the season, the front three being available for 90% or 95% of the games, that is one of the most crucial aspects of this historic season that Liverpool had or are having still, with the record points tally and qualifying for the Champions League final. And Depay is also a hard worker, and I think Jurgen Klopp loves players like that. Ronald Koeman, now his national team manager, had previously questioned his attitude, but that was several years ago. Since then, Depay has really bulked up, and he is now a much harder worker. He's not a young player anymore, and Depay could slot into the center striker role and give Firmino some added, very, very crucial rest, because Firmino, maybe we overplayed him, and that's why sometimes he got injured in recent months. Firmino virtually had to play every game because Origi likes to play on the left, and Sturridge is not really on the same level as Firmino. But with Depay coming in, that could really change. Firmino could get some much needed rest, and Depay could play up front, Salah on the right, Mane on the left. And imagine a midfield of Fabinho, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita running at the defensive with pace. Salah, Depay and Mane could really be a devastating strike force, and Firmino, we could rotate him with Depay. So I think Liverpool could play that formation, or Liverpool could play in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Salah on the right, Depay on the up front, Firmino behind him, Mane on the left, and then anything in the midfield, maybe Naby Keita or Fabinho, Henderson or Fabinho, or different players like that. So I think Liverpool really should go for Depay, because he is a fantastic player, and for 40-50 million pounds, I think he's worth the money. And Jurgen Klopp explained what he does when a new signing comes in. He said, when a new player is coming in, I don't give them any information. I let them play. I learn about what is good naturally and what we want to adjust. You learn more about your players each day, how you treat them, how to deal with them. A lot happens with one talk, actually, whether that's with the player or with the team. All in all, you try to help 11 players do the right things in the right moment. And I think that's a very good strategy. You don't want to overcomplicate things. If a player comes in, you don't want to change his natural game. You just watch him in training, and then with his playing style and what he does naturally, you see where he could fit into your team. And there is a very big news of Nathaniel Clyne potentially being sold to Napoli. Napoli is interested in Nathaniel Clyne, and he's out of favor at Liverpool. We already sent him out on loan to Bournemouth in the January transfer window, but apparently, according to some newspapers, Michael Edwards wants £15 million for Nathaniel Clyne, and Michael Edwards has done a tremendous job selling Liverpool players. That's why Liverpool could buy so many big players for such big money, because we are getting very, very good money for fringe players, for even reserve players. We sometimes got 10-15 million pounds, and that's very good business in my opinion. So at the moment, Clyne is weighing up his options, but Napoli is one of the favorites now to sign him. And also Gerard Piqué said this about Barcelona's capitulation or a collapse, whatever you want to call it, at Anfield. It was one of the best comebacks in Champions League knockout history, and he said this: when something like this happens, everything or almost everything has gone wrong. That's what Piqué told El País, a Spanish newspaper. He said, I think that on a mental level, some people were affected by what happened in Rome because we had it very recently. Yes, that was just last season where Barcelona lost a 4-1 first leg lead to Roma and losing 3-0 in the second leg. But I think this was even worse because Barcelona won 3-0, didn't concede an away goal. All they needed to do is just score one goal at Anfield, but they failed to do so in the first half, and the second half Liverpool really punished them. And what Piqué said is very interesting. With the first goal, which was very fast, unconsciously you see the image of Rome. Then two more goals came very quickly in the second half, and it looked too much like what happened a year ago. Surely it was a mental block, but football was also missing. And Liverpool pressed very high, very intense. Anfield played his role. We were not able to come back. Sometimes it happens. It was a very hard day. I think what we can learn from this is that some Barcelona players don't have like a big game player mentality. They don't have pure winner mentality. And I think the people who blamed Messi for Barcelona's failure is wrong, because Messi played 3 or 4 passes that could have been assists if his teammates were able to finish those chances. But Alisson made some tremendous saves, but Suarez, Jordi Alba and other players, Coutinho, missed big one-on-ones against our goalkeeper, and that was the reason why Barcelona went out, not because Messi didn't turn up or anything like that. And I think Barcelona really were effective mentally. If affected mentally by the Anfield crowd. That's an explanation, not really an excuse for them, and I think they really should look in the mirror and ask themselves, should a team like Barcelona concede a 3-goal lead twice in the Champions League in 2 seasons? I mean, the fact that Messi has won the Champions League now once only in like 7 or 8 seasons is a travesty, really, because Messi is potentially the best player in the world right now, the best player potentially to ever play football, and he hasn't won enough Champions Leagues for me. He won a lot of Spanish league titles, no question about that, but Messi won 3 Champions Leagues, which is still quite a few, but it's not... Barcelona missed so many glorious opportunities to win the Champions League in recent seasons. That's why I think it hurts even more for Barcelona fans. And Mourinho said in an interview some very interesting things about the Champions League final. He said this, and Mourinho maybe wants to put a little bit more pressure on Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool with this interview, but judge it for yourself. So Mourinho said this: Tottenham is not winning titles, and to win the first one, the biggest one of all, would be of course fantastic, and that would mean to win other domestic trophies is easier because the Champions League is the biggest trophy of all. I think a big match, of course, with huge levels of pressure. We used to say finals are not to play, finals are to win. And being a manager and understanding what it means for a manager to play a Champions League final, there is always a negative side of it. And the negative side is that one team is going to lose it. If Jurgen wins, it is an incredible achievement for him. If Jurgen Klopp doesn't win, you know, to lose three Champions League finals has to be really, really hard. But in this moment, he's a positive guy, and I think he just thinks about winning. He also talked about the future of Eden Hazard. He said, it looks like it is the last match for Chelsea colours for Eden Hazard, the player that was crucial for Chelsea's success in this last generation. I think Eden Hazard will try to be what he is the majority of the time, a fantastic player on the pitch, and to win and go possibly, I don't want to say more than possibly, to Real Madrid with the last trophy for Chelsea would be brilliant. So yeah, Chelsea will play, of course, in the Europa League final against Arsenal. And I think this is a very interesting quote from Mourinho. Maybe he doesn't have really any malice or motivation to do this interview. Maybe he just is giving his honest opinion. And I agree with him, honestly. like for Jurgen Klopp to lose 3 Champions League finals would be brutal and so undeserved, because he prepares the team perfectly, in my opinion, and it's up to the players. But for the first time in his 3 Champions League finals, Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp's team will be favorites. With Dortmund, he was underdogs against Bayern Munich. With Liverpool, he was underdogs against Real Madrid, who won 3 Champions League in the previous 4 seasons. Even the Europa League final, where Liverpool played Sevilla, Liverpool were underdogs, because that was Liverpool's first European final in a long time, and Sevilla already won 3 Europa League finals before, so they had all the experience. But now the tables have turned. Now Liverpool have the experience and Tottenham are the newcomers. So I really hope that Liverpool can bring the trophy home. It would be crucial and massive for this team's development. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this Liverpool news video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.